This is Earthfiles, the award-winning news site with the latest updates in science, environment, and real X-Files. Podcasting in-depth reports beyond the 6 o'clock news by Emmy Award-winning journalist Linda Moulton Howe.
A cattle farm in Tappen, North Dakota, has experienced a series of highly strange events over the past year. First, there was a dead cow that coyotes would not touch. Then 16-year-old teenager Evan Briese was checking cows ready to calve and encountered a triangle-shaped craft near a dugout water pond. The craft emitted blue beams of light and took off rapidly after Evan's cattle dog ran toward it, barking. Afterward, the family found an odd pattern cut into the dead cow's hide that had not been there before. Later, the father and other family members watched strange aerial lights move in patterns over the farm on 2 different occasions in July and August 2006. Then, on September 11th, around 1 a.m., Evan went to check the pig corral with his .22 and encountered non-human entities with sharp-bladed fingers dragging a dead sow. After Evan shot at one creature about 12 feet from him, Evan was grabbed from behind. He collapsed unconscious to the ground. When he woke up, the Adidas T-shirt he was wearing had 5 slices in it. There were 2 faint scratches on his chest that did not bleed. After that, a neighbor's buck sheep was found dead with 1 testicle cut neatly without blood from the scrotum sac. And finally, on December 5th, a buck boar on the Briese farm disappeared. Where has all this happened? About 60 miles straight east of Bismark, North Dakota. It's the small farming community of Tappen in Kidder County. From a USGS Terra Server satellite, Tappen's farmland looks like a child's game board because crops are planted in circles to make sprinkler irrigation easier. There have been many unusual animal deaths and disappearances in the region. Not far to the northeast is the Chase Lake National Wildlife Refuge, where 29,000 American white pelicans disappeared in May of 2004. The next spring, in 2005, 8,000 white pelican baby chicks mysteriously died. Further south of Chase Lake is the Wrestler Waterfowl Protection Area. For 6 straight years, between 1999 to 2004, thousands of gulls and cormorants mysteriously died at Wrestler Lake. Farmers in Tappen, with a current population of about 200, have also been challenged by mysterious deaths and disappearances of livestock. One of those families is Myra and Torrey Briese, both in their late 40s. They have lived in Tappen all their life. Their 5 children are Tessa, 23, Trista, 20, Evan, 16, Tia, 11, and Marshall, 3. The Briese farm has 1,200 acres and 100 head of cattle, the family's main source of income. For fun, 16-year-old Evan Briese and his 11-year-old sister Tia have raised 6 hogs in a corral not far from the house. A half-mile beyond the pig corral, Torrey Briese found one of his cattle dead in October 2005 just over a small embankment at the edge of a dugout water pond. Torrey admits he did not examine the dead cow closely at the time, but realized a few months later, on April 6, 2006, that coyotes and other predators had not touched that carcass.
They never ate on her. That is something that I just don't understand. In fact, I can tell you, up the gully from where that dead cow is, I had lost a big sucking calf, about a 900-pounder. I had some creep feed up there, and they overate, one bloated. And the coyotes devoured that thing in about 5 days. It was gone. Just a little bit of hide and a couple bones. That's it. So that's the contrast. These 2 critters were that close together. That cow was never bothered, but this other calf was eaten within a matter of a few days.
The reason Torrey Briese paid attention to that long dead cow on April 6, 2006 was that something very strange entered the Briese farm near the water pond on the other side of a small embankment about 30 feet from the dead cow. Afterward, as Torrey and his family explored the land around the water pond, Torrey found a large disc-shaped symbol etched on the dead cow's hide next to 2 triangular punctures. The disc was overlaid by 6 lines. The odd pattern had been created by cutting away the sun-bleached surface hair to expose the deeper, blacker part of the hair. But far more bizarre than the odd symbol and triangular punctures on the long-dead cow is what 16-year-old Evan Briese saw near the water pond at 12:30 a.m. on April 6, 2006. Evan had left the farmhouse around midnight to go check the cows that were ready to calve. With him was his cattle dog Buster. The cows seemed fine, and Evan and Buster were heading back to the farmhouse when Evan saw a light flash that seemed to curve over a hill to the east of them. He started walking toward the pond and said he could see blue beams flashing repeatedly. As Evan reached the top of a hill, he was looking down on a wedge-shaped craft at the far end of the water pond, about 140 yards away. Shining from large ovals in the side of the object was blue light.
Just as I was reaching the top of the hill where there's an embankment down to the dugout, got to the top of it and I seen that UFO sitting by the dugout. Looked triangular shaped to me and had like oval-shaped lights on it that were real pale blue, the beam was, and they were real big from what I could see, and it looked like they could bend over hills. When they would shine over them embankments down there, it looked like they could bend right over them.
And it was as if they were looking for something?
Yep.
How big do you think this triangle was?
About 40 feet long, I would suppose.
And how wide do you think the triangle was?
Probably about 20 feet.
So it was about half as wide as it was long?
Yeah.
How high would it be from the ground up?
Probably 6-7 feet.
It was pretty narrow from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, it was real low profile, yeah. Then we just sat there and looked at it, probably 30 seconds, something like that. Even he was in shock,
Even your dog was in shock.
Yeah. If it was something that he knew what it was, like he knows vehicles and all that stuff, so he would have ran up to it right away, and tried to have been its buddy, but he even sat and looked at it with me.
Did he whine or shiver or anything?
Because after that certain amount of time we looked at it, he shot down there after it.
As your dog starts running toward this triangular vehicle, what happened?
I just sat and watched it till finally I seen him kind of see off the glow that I could see him running down there, and then pretty soon he started barking and it took off. It was out of there.
And when it took off, did it make noise? What happened?
Completely silent. Not a sound.
That must have been eerie.
Yeah, it was strange.
As it took off, did it take off slowly first and then speed up, or what?
It just kept a certain speed until it went all the way up, and then I couldn't see it no more.
After it zipped away, what did you and Buster do?
We ran back home and came in and woke Mom and Dad up, told them what it was.
The craft that he seen sitting there was sitting between the banks on the east side, on the far side of the water. And that craft was sitting on the same side that the dead cow carcass is.
So whatever was in that triangular craft that sat down at the water hole might have made this calling card, so to speak, in the hide of an already dead cow.
Right. Could very well have. And, all my neighbors are cattlemen have looked at it. They couldn't determine when this had been put on the cow. I know it wasn't on the cow last fall. So it had to have gotten on after the hair fading of the hair, because it was a black Angus cow. Well, the reason the black hair is there is because whatever put this mark on there cut away the bleached hair. Whatever etched that on there, cut it on there, whatever word you want to use, done it a long time after this cow had died.
Thanks for listening to this Earthfiles podcast, from the edges of science, environment, and real X-Files. Go to www.earthfiles.com to see more than 1,000 Earthfiles reports with photographs, drawings, and documents. And visit Earthfiles every day, every week, for new reports and new podcasts. That's www.earthfiles.com.